Okay, we are live. Hello, friends and enemies. Welcome to the mayoral address and our interview with KINGSNEKK. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hi.
Very well.
Welcome to the End Times channel. Everybody introduce yourself. Let's start with the Nightmare, Mr. Fahrenheit.
Hello, all. I am Mr. Fahrenheit, the Night Mayor of Wasteland City and the ambassador for the New California Republic.
And we all, and that is the interpreter who just a few minutes ago was eating I almost said a muffin, but it was not a muffin. It was a cupcake. How are you doing?
A muffin only to Ms.
I have finished my bagel or my pizza rolls and my cupcake. So my birthday party for one has been completed. Thank you, Z-Rex, for the cupcakes. Do not shame me for how long it has taken me to eat them. Perfect.
That's true. Your birthday was a couple days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a week and some.
Oh
thank you.
And of course, we have KINGSNEKK with us. How are you doing tonight?
Doing excellent tonight. It's KINGSNEKK of Da Vinci's Flares. Thank you guys for inviting me here, and
Absolutely.
thank you for Wasteland of the Month. I take that with honor.
Some of you guys might already know who KINGSNEKK is. Actually, on the channel, he is the one that did the artwork for the End Times banner. That particular rendition of the Earth with the Nuke in it was done by him.
That was a fun one.
It turned out really good. He's an extremely talented artist and a longtime Wastelander, and we're gonna get to know him a little bit tonight.
Ooh.
I know very little about you, so I'm very excited.
It's going to be an in-depth deep dive.
Yeah, with doing this, we really try to showcase people who are in the community, who contribute a lot to the community, but maybe aren't well known to the community as a whole or to outsiders who are getting interested, trying to showcase people the type of people you might meet when you go to Wasteland that you may not expect to be there. Because I think a lot of people think of this as just like kind of a standard festival. They don't really know quite who they're going to meet. They think everybody's just a party goer, but there's a lot of very interesting people that you will meet at Wasteland who do a lot of interesting things. And yes. KINGSNEKK is one of those people.
It's kind of how we started off as party goers and didn't expect to get sucked into this awesome community. So.
That's usually how that goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how long have you been going to Wasteland, and what made you get started, KINGSNEKK?
Oh, so we went to Wasteland since 2016. Wasteland at the old site, which I kind of missed because it was such a fucking awesome time. But new site's cool too. I was just on Facebook and I just happened to see the event pop up, and I saw so many of my friends going from. I went to college at the Academy of Art University San Francisco, and there were so many people from that school going there. So we're like, hey, let's gather around and see if we can meet up and hang out there. And I didn't know anything about the whole tribe faction or anything like that. We just went as goers, and we just know we had to make costumes, and I didn't want it to look like a shitty job. So I did what a lot of weaves do, is start off with a samurai concept. It was fun, and then it slowly went from like a weird Russian samurai thing, because our first tribe was our friend's tribe, George, which was my friend Laura's boyfriend. He did like a little mini Russian tribe called Protocol B with another friend. It was like
I don't know if I remember this.
Yeah, Protocol B is unfortunately far gone now, but it was fun while it lasted. He said the only thing you had to do to be in the tribe was just have a very shitty Russian accent, which was fun.
Oh, I could have joined.
I don't know. Your Russian accent might be too good, Ms.
So he's the only one that would have a real accent. Everybody else has like a terrible one.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Of course, Fennec wanted to go too, so we road tripped there together, and we stood in line for 6 hours. But that was a fun 6-hour line because we got initiated by the Dust Bowl or the Dust Storm 2016. That's
right. That was
a lot of fun.
So you were in line while I was getting sandblasted on top of the crow's nest, throwing sandbags over the wall.
Oh God, sandbags on top of sand when?
That was the year of the Great Duster. I think 2016 became known as that because, yeah, a lot of people were caught up in that line. That was probably the most intense weather I have ever experienced at Wasteland. And I think it says a lot that that was your
It
first
was
year.
genuine apocalyptic weather. It was very fitting.
The fact that that was your first year and you kept coming back means that you definitely must have seen something in that event because I think
It
that
was
broke a lot
awesome.
of first timers.
I'm not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
lie, I love that wind. It's weird, but I loved it. We were just talking to new people outside the line, and suddenly everyone's phones go off about a storm coming in. So we're like, no big deal. That always happens. So suddenly we turn, and then we see like this massive cloud of dust just come over the mountain, and we're just like, well, we'll talk to you guys later. I locked the doors, and it's just like boom. The one dude just kind of got out of his car and just started screaming in the dust, which is metal, but at the same time, I'm sure he got the dust lung.
Oh, everybody got sick that year. Yeah, everybody got sick after that.
On the bright side, it wasn't as hot as 2015.
No.
I heard a lot of stories about the heat of 2015. I'm glad that wasn't my first year.
Every year has its own special weather.
2016 was a special year, I feel like, though, because I feel like that wind, in particular, that storm, brought a lot of people together. Like, I met a lot of people I'm still friends with now because of that storm.
Everyone hunkering down to try to get out of the wind.
That's one of my favorite stories I always tell is that I think it was that year and earlier that day, there was two girls. I know they subscribed to my channel. I don't remember your guys' name, but shout out to you. And we had seen them early in the day and like, yeah, it's our first year. And they had like full war paint on. They had like, it was red. I remember like bright kind of magenta-y red. And they came by and they were like really in character and they were having fun. And then they left. And then I remember that storm came through and they came back trying to get back to their camp. And we saw them struggling in the wind. And we had this like low hanging tent that was like the only one that lived. So we were like, come in here. So they came in. I remember they like ran in and like slid. And the one was laying on her back, like panting. And like she had like some kind of fake Australian accent or something going on. It might have even been Russian. And then I remember she was just like, fuck this. The Valley Girl voice. And the other one was just like, is it always like this? And I was like, no, it's not. But they were done with being in character and stuff at that point. I was like, that's how everybody starts. Like you go in trying to be like all badass. And then by the end, you're like, I just need to survive.
I mean, hey, you're going to an apocalyptic theme festival. You should be prepared for apocalyptic scenarios.
What a lovely day.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was during that whole thing.
You were what?
I run an RV because I'm bougie, and the wind started happening, and so I went back to my RV and I fell asleep, and then I woke up and the RV was packed with people just looking for like shade, like for rest or shelter, and I was like, okay, cool, and then I went back.
Our tribe mate Cindy, who had a trailer that year when the wind came in, she's older and she's just like done with that shit. I remember she came up to camp, she's like, well, bye, and she just like closed up her trailer. So we were all hunkered in and she was in there.
We accepted a lot of people into our structure for that.
Yeah, after 20 Mule Team was done tearing down our annex tent out in Tent City, and then stripping down everything that was going to fall apart back at the walls and reinforcing our side of the wall so it didn't collapse onto the crow's nest. We holed up in our little officers' lounge and filled out tax forms to get the very first tax forms to ever hit Wasteland City.
That was
a bonding experience.
That storm was also the one that we made a really dumb mistake that many tribes have made. I came to figure out after that storm, but we bought the infamous car garages. If you're going to Wasteland, please don't do this idea. Yeah. Don't do this idea. Huts. It wasn't a monkey hut. It was like an aluminum car garage, and we put a parachute over it.
Oh gosh!
Never do it. I've met like 3 separate people with the same story as mine. We put it on there, and of course, it caught wind, and it was about to go flying. And luckily, our tribe is large, so we were grabbing it. but I think that might have even been one of the first videos on the channel that was called "The Fall of Russia," because it was us all screaming, holding onto the tent from first person point of view as it was like lifting into the air. And that was the first year that Team Rocket camped with us. And I just remember she was like off the ground. Like,
yeah, I was like, I was gonna say, how did she not fly away?
Well, the scariest part is that somebody came up with the brilliant idea of like, we got to cut this thing, we got to cut it. So we all started stabbing the tent with knives. And
oh wow,
I know. And there was this chick, I don't know if she still goes to Wasteland, but her name is Jackrabbit, and she was on the opposite side with me. And we're holding it. I think she used to go to the Junktown stuff. We're holding it, and she's like, "This is a bad idea, Taylor." And right when she says that, a knife comes flying through, like right by her face from the opposite side. And I was like, "Okay, everybody, stop with the knives. Stop stabbing the tent." It was
like, "You're right. This is a bad idea."
Yeah, like literally, right after she's like, "This is a bad idea." It like went like right between us, like the shining axe or something.
Oh God. And that was the 2016 Wasteland we're talking about. But going to last year's Wasteland, we used one of those car garage things for the base of the art gallery, and we were very lucky that it stayed stable the entire Wasteland until the very, very, very end when we started taking it down, because the wind started picking up and the top roof of the car garage literally split open. Like we heard a sound zzz, 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 and just cracked open like an egg.
Oh my gosh.
Everything just started flying everywhere. We were so lucky, like this happened right when we were taking it down. It stayed stable throughout the whole Wasteland until the very last second. So not using car garage this time. We're figuring out something out different.
Yeah, they like, I don't know. There's something about them. Maybe they're cursed. But I think it says a lot about you that was your first year. And that's when you were committed to making this your thing. And speaking of your camp, why don't you tell us a little bit about your tribe?
So the tribe is interesting. So the 2016 Wasteland at the Protocol B and all that. Actually, Fennec is the one who decided to, who brought up the concept of making our tribe, which we discussed. And so we're like, okay, let's do it one year. So 2017, we didn't do it at all. We experimented with Waste of Saints 2017 because our friend Katie, I don't know her Wasteland name, actually we just call her Katie, is in there. And Waste of Saints and us, they're great, but they didn't really, wasn't really working out. And so one day I'm just sitting there thinking, like, we talk about the art tribe all the time. Like, something needs to be done. We need to do something. So I'm just sitting there looking at everyone, and I'm just like, so, okay, I'm just going to create a Facebook Messenger group and create a group and just randomly invite people I know who are into like art and are artists, and like, hey, you guys want to do this tribe? And everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. And it was just as simple as that. So that just started forming. And so as for the art gallery, that's where Annabelle came in because she wanted, or Pup.
Yeah, Pup.
Pup.
I know.
So Pup.
I helped put you guys in contact. I remember this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
wait a minute, this is sounding really familiar.
Yeah, so Pup wanted to do the vault again, so we were like, hey, we can host the vault this time. So we didn't do it in a themed area. We did it somewhere in the corner of decontamination protocol. I forgot the name of the area, but we were in that corner, and we used her tent, which worked for about maybe 4 hours until the winds just completely destroyed it. We didn't destroy it, we took it down, it toppled it. So it was beautiful when it was up and when the gallery was up and alive for a few hours, and then it was just a struggle trying to get it up. So we told her, like, hey, we still want to do the gallery, but we just don't want to use that tent anymore. So she totally understood. And so our main goal really is to just have a home, not just to showcase the artists of Wasteland, but to have a home. We don't really want to have like a whole exclusive tribe membership thing in general. Just say, hey, if you're an artist, come hang out with us. Or even if you're regular Wasteland, just appreciate art. Just come view what we do. There's so many artists out there that are just kind of hiding, and we kind of do that in general because we just like to draw things. I mean, some artists like to get attention, but others just they just want to sit and draw. It's like, hey, there's a bunch of us. Let's get together and let's create things together. So,
yeah.
And Wasteland in general is just a giant creation community. Everyone's creative in their own way, in their own medium. I mean, welding is a is technically a medium for art too, and engineering in his own sense is also an art form. But this is mainly for visual artists, painters, drawers, or sculptors. We have one member by the name of Toolshed. He does some pretty awesome sculptures. He welds some like skull sculptures and stuff like that. And we have another one named Sawbones, and Sawbones is he is an effects artist, and he does a lot of art for theme parks and a lot of art for haunted house and stuff like that. So he's really good with making fake skin. And this is where the kind of the flare concept comes in, because we also Fennec had the idea of using skin as we're displaying people's tattoos or people's or using skin as a canvas. We haven't quite figured out how to do that yet, but that's where the name came in, because we were trying to figure out a name for the tribe, and we were just tossing names and names and names, just tons of random names. And somewhere we settled with the word Da Vinci, but we couldn't figure out what to go with it because Da Vinci's workshop sounded pretty fucking boring and lame. And also, I think that's a Burning Man group too, and we don't really want to be associated with that. But I mean, Burning Man, no, nothing against it. But anyways,
it's an existing group.
You want to be your own thing and be your Yeah,
exactly. So
makes sense. Yeah.
Fennec is the one who came up with the flare name, with the flare part. So combine things together, and Da Vinci's Flares was born. So we did everything we could to make the first year work out. It was definitely a prototype. It had its flaws and errors, but it all worked out in the end for 2019, which Junktown helped tremendously with. We merged with them within the Den, so that all worked out. And Junktown has been a tremendous help to us.
That was a great setup. Yeah. If anybody, I guess if you haven't attended the event, you wouldn't know about this, but as KINGSNEKK was saying, it used to be known as the Vault Collection. I think that was the first Wasteland art gallery.
That's what Pup ran.
Yeah, that Pup was running, because I remember putting a piece in that years ago, and it was, I think it was quite an undertaking, and I remember the weather was always a huge issue.
Yes.
And
the wind always battered at their tent.
Yeah, and it was very cool then. I enjoyed it. I think the flares brought a lot of good theming to the idea. I love the name Da Vinci's Flares. I think that's it's a kind of a genius name. I would actually like to get
credit Fennec for that. She's the one who combined that together. So yeah, I'll definitely credit Fennec for the Da Vinci's Flares name.
And I would definitely like to get Fennec on here at some point. I think that she's brilliant. I like her company and everything. She's a very good artist as well.
And her new mask. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, she's got a pretty iconic outfit. As do you. But I think the coolest thing about the Da Vinci's Flares gallery and stuff is that it's in theme of stuff being, like post-apocalyptic as far as the theme of the artwork, but I feel like the mediums that you guys are open to is really unique, that you do have sculptures and stuff featured. This year it was a really, really cool setup. I don't know if you guys are thinking of doing something ambitious, everybody listening at Wasteland, if an art gallery can survive in the desert, then whatever you can build can, if you put enough ingenuity to it. And there's always going to be growing pains and stuff like that. Like you said, just the struggle of even getting something like that safely to sit up during the entirety of the event is an undertaking. And I think you guys found a pretty solid setup this time around. And that's what happens when you end up going to this event and you're dedicating time to it. It gets better every year. You kind of figure out what you're doing one way or another.
It was definitely challenging figuring out that setup too. And it was also, hard to believe, but all that was kind of, it wasn't last month being last minute, but because we were still trying to figure out, how to, in general, make the gallery look like a gallery without just having like a floppy tent. That's where Toolshed kind of came in, and he also works. He not full time, but he does commissions for theme parks too, and he had a lot of leftover stuff from these parks. There was these giant walls that he had that we used to that you probably saw inside the gallery. We used that to hang up a lot of the work. So definitely kudos to him for that. and he had tons of mannequin parts, tons and tons of it. And he was like, "Hey, if we don't want to use this for the tribe, I'm gonna throw them out." Like, oh God, dude, are you kidding me? No, that's treasure. Please give us all of them.
One thing
Meta Wastelander, your trash is our treasure.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a funny thing too, because after Wasteland, like my family is like, "Why do you want all this crap?" Just like, just don't question it. I'm just gonna take it from here. I'm just gonna take it from your front yard trash pile.
I know how you feel. You're like, there's potential in it.
Exactly.
One thing I really liked about your camp setup and everything too that I thought was cool for the gallery was it was like a 360 camp. Like there was artwork on both sides because you had that middle part and you could walk around. You really utilized the space very well, I felt like. And a lot of people, for necessity, their camp is pretty much facades all facing forward. That's one of the first ones I've been that you could walk into and walk around and there was stuff like all around it, which was really cool.
That's the best way to pull people in to see the art. There's one way in and then there's only one way out. And then other people, there's a lot of people who are very intoxicated that's walking through alleyways and come to the back. Like, hey, and we kind of want to be that art gallery that's not like a fancy art gallery, more like, hey, you got this little secret alleyway art gallery kind of thing. Like a real, it's one that you have to kind of discover. I mean, we have other than the big sign in the front of Junktown's is art gallery here, but other than that, yes, there is a back entrance as well. You just have to find it.
Now, if somebody's interested in if anybody's interested in like submitting artwork, how do they go about that? Do you guys announce that close to the event, or?
We're gonna announce that. We usually announce that probably in the summer because we like to give people time to actually create things. If they want to submit something specific. Otherwise, I mean, if you already have something that's already made but you would like to submit, then go ahead and submit that anytime. But technically, it's submit anytime. But the official announcement, we like to do it around July, I think, or June, just to give people some time because spring is very busy for many apocalyptic events, detonation and all that stuff. We would love to go detonation one year. Just time and finances.
That actually brings me.
Detonation is great.
That brings me to my next question, actually.
Oh
no! I was just going to ask: is there any other PA events that you have attended, or ones that you would like to attend in the near future?
I love to attend detonation one year. Great people. We met the detonation and Reverend 2017 Wasteland, and he was so awesome to us that we definitely want to go one year. He's really cool. And we went to halftime. Halftime was awesome. It's unofficial, of course, but halftime was an incredible time. Riding a motorcycle in the middle of nowhere, and the gas in my motorcycle totally went out, and someone had to go truck for me. So I was stuck in the middle of nowhere. It was such a surreal experience, just being hey, it's like if I die here, it actually wouldn't be so bad. It's awesome scenery everywhere. But what? Sorry, I see trash is armor.
Oh yeah, Nero. Nero says trash is armor. Yes, it can be.
Having been to detonation a number of times, I think the gallery would fit in very well with a lot of the stuff they have going on.
There is a lot more wind there, though. Be careful.
If we split up a detonation, it'd probably be like more of a mini gallery than a full out gallery. Something a bit more ghetto looking, I think. More like a bazaar, which we do want to set up something in Bartertown one year because we bartered some art and some of our crafts in Bartertown, like in that little area where everyone just kind of goes and settles down with their stuff. And that was one of the most fun times I ever had at Wasteland. Actually, it's weird. Bartering is
yes,
a lot of fun. So we kind of want to set up our own little mini station there too. One time, we wanted to do something with the mass merchant, because she's a great artist too. I've been so busy with her thing, and her structure is just awesome. So I'm just letting her do that. But one year I would like to collaborate with her on something as well, like a mass merchant.
You just politely call her out, so this might be the time that she's like, "Oh yeah, no, let's do it."
Yeah, faceless merchant. How about you do something about it?
Yeah.
I know what you mean about that barter area, though. That barter area was very cool. For people that don't know, there's a little bit in the video. Oh, well, I don't think I've uploaded that half of the video, but yeah, in Bartertown, I know in one video I said it's not really technically a barter space. There is a dedicated space that KingSNEKK's talking about where you can lay out a blanket and you can actually trade goods and stuff there. And I think that would be a really cool thing. You know, if you're an artist, people always like portraits and stuff. That'd be a great space to go. Just make sure you bring an umbrella or something for shade, because I thought I was going to die after sitting there for like 2 hours.
Or wear a mask, or wear a hoodie.
Yeah.
Well, not a hood, but like more like a cloak or something.
Some
like that.
shade, something.
Exactly.
I'm a ginger. I bring a hair everywhere.
I had the genius idea of making a metal mask one time, and I was thinking, like, wow, the fuck was I thinking? Wow.
That sounds like a nighttime mask.
Actually, that's
No, look what you did.
Yeah, don't scrap it. That's a nighttime mask or a winter PA event mask. Don't scrap it.
Yeah.
The mayoral address asking hard questions.
Okay, that's all I do.
Dr. Doom was one of my idols, so I was like making a mask kind of an ode to that. So I'm like,
Do you have any plans for the 2020 event you guys are whipping up that you can reveal yet, or is it a little soon?
Actually, we just had a talk with Cannabis Commander of Junktown recently. He's really down to helping us build something even better, like an actual structure, not a tent. I know me and Fennec had this idea one time that that we would make some kind of an art maze one year, which would be an awesome idea. And Commander said he was totally down to help us build that. So I'm not guaranteeing that, but it's definitely up in the air. Well, but it's definitely going to be a better structure for this year. More quests, because we had ideas for quests. We had a last minute quest, which was a lot of fun, which I think you took part of as well. I don't remember. Oh yeah, you did. But it was just kind of last minute and it kind of fell through. So we're gonna actually start planning quests early this time, like stolen art, like an art heist or something like that.
Ooh, that's a cool idea.
And you guys were great to participate your first year in the Vault 77 quest chain that I was setting up. So you're definitely no strangers to it, and I certainly appreciated that.
I want in on this art heist for sure. Well, and the commander knows his way around building something that'll last. That man can live in the desert in a fortress of trash. He builds things to last.
That's kind of what literally Junktown is.
A literal empire of dirt.
To last. Is that the cow's name, Bessie?
Oh,
no,
Bessie.
it's it's
Queen Labifa.
Yeah, Queen Labifa.
I apologize.
By the way, everybody who hears this, don't climb
apologize to us. Apologize to Queen Labifa.
Sorry, Queen Labifa. Yes, do not climb on Queen Labifa. Queen Labifa is falling apart. If you'd like to buy Queen Labifa, buy a new one.
Yes, she's our precious holy crap. She's almost a deity, a monarch and a deity.
I just love every morning before taking things down and heading out from Wasteland, I just go say bye to Junktown, and we're all talking, and suddenly Commander's like, "Oh god damn it, someone took her again." I was like, "Wait, we realized something was missing."
She does find her way into all sorts of odd places.
I remember.
What was that? Yes, but what about it?
This is an intervention.
I heard liquid, and I was like, "Wait, what is happening? Who's drinking?"
I heard that too. That really clear drop. Like
yes.
droplet.
my Oktoberfest beer that I've been hanging on to.
How did I know?
Maverick says whoever steals Queen Labifa again is going to jail. We can only hope.
I want to go to Junktown.
I want to steal Queen Labifa. Okay.
Yes, you can get dragged to the saloon.
Not last year, but the year before, when she was stolen and missing for some time. One of my tribe mates was in a drunken stupor, and I just remember, like, when she saw she was missing, she was crying about it, and we had to console her because she was like, "It's never coming back." Was
this Team Rocket?
No, surprisingly, surprisingly, no.
Team Rocket.
That's a Team Rocket move for sure. So KingSNEKK, as far as your artwork, I wish we had. Well, you can see the artwork a little bit here because your icon is actually your artwork, and of course the banner on the site.
We can always post a follow-up after this if there's any art you'd like to show off.
Yeah, I can pull some up actually. But as far as your artwork, what would you say is your biggest like influence or influences? Because you have an extremely unique style. And I know you do traditional stuff and you do digital stuff, but your digital stuff always manages to look very textured and very rich. I don't know how to describe it. It looks very nothing super sterile, nothing looks super digital. It all looks very kind of traditional regardless. I mean that as a total
Well,
compliment, but what would you say are your influences as far as
that's
that?
because I usually combine traditional with digital. I sketch with pen and ink and acrylic, and then I'll scan it, and then I'll paint over and under it. And if a client needs a deadline really fast, I hate to photo bash, but that does happen every once in a while, just so if I have a deadline. But my influence, that's easy to say. So my favorite artist is by the name of Masahiro Ito. Masahiro Ito was the lead art director, concept artist, and creature designer for the first 3 original Silent Hill games. Everything he does is just rusty, grungy, wires falling apart, nightmare-looking stuff. And so also he has a apocalyptic series he's working on. Most people don't realize. It's like Russian sci-fi apocalypse. It's really cool looking. But I actually got to meet him one time. He actually spoke better English than I thought he would, and he taught me some of his techniques. So it was more of like it was a very happy senpai notice me moment. It was awesome. But yeah, he's his creature designs, his texture, like I said, his texture is really realistic rust, and that's where I got that inspiration from. I just practiced it a lot, and slowly but surely, I'm getting my own style. But you know, you can see a little bit of him in me, but I don't want to copy his style because that's just otherwise I'll just be a copycat of my favorite artist, and then I don't want to do that. That's kind of lame. But other than that, my other favorite artist is by the name of Satomu Nie. He does a lot of grungy cyberpunk stuff. He did, if you've seen on Netflix, he did the manga Blame.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
I can see a little bit of that.
Yeah, he did the manga. He had nothing to do with the anime. He just gave the rights to it. But Blame Biomega, he just does a lot of crazy cool like organic cyberpunk skull wires, tubes everywhere kind of stuff. So anything like that, I love. Moody atmospheric colors as well. There's a lot of different artists I contribute to that. James Jean, or I have another one by the name of Katsuya Terada, who does shows in LA a lot. Katsuya Terada is really cool because he just kind of draws whatever is on his mind, and that's what I want to kind of do. He's so addicted to drawing. He has a book that's just nothing but his doodles. That's just 1,000 pages of doodles. Rakuga Kingu is what it's called, which translates to the Doodle King. And I was talking to him. He'll literally just say like, just what's the first thing that comes to your mind? And I just said, a monkey, a banana eating a monkey. And he's like, draw it right now. Like, whatever random weird shit comes to your mind, just draw it all. He's like, okay.
There is something to that, I think, growing as an artist. I think a lot of it does involve kind of just freely drawing from your mind. And your stuff is it's very, I want to say rooted in reality only because the things feel very tangible, like your sense of space and shape and everything. But the stuff is very dreamy in its content.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna screen share right now. I'll see if I can show a little bit of your artwork here. It might take a moment.
I'm personally a big fan of the silicon beings from Blame and all the giant architectural cyberscapes that were done in that.
Yes, that's my favorite part as well. That and all the, and also I have the thing with masks, and there's a lot of crazy, cool looking faces and masks that he draws on all these cyber characters. It's just like, it's either like a skull looking thing or just like these, almost like a neoclassical looking statue face, which I have an obsession with doing too. I have an obsession with like neoclassical structures that are falling apart. That's I know that sounds specific, neoclassical stuff. My snail girl. So as you can see,
I always really liked that one.
The snail girl actually really reminds me of Blame.
Yeah, it's
but you can see there's a lot of layers and stuff, so I can see what you mean about I think that's what gives it its unique look, that you layer traditional stuff with the digital stuff and everything just looks very organic.
That's what the dreamy thing, what you said. Actually, so the funny thing is, actually, I thought this was a very normal thing because I dream literally all the time, and I remember a lot of my dreams. So I talk about that.
Oh, that's
people are like,
very
no,
unique.
not common. Like,
Yeah.
oh, so literally every night. Actually, I just
How
talked about this
interesting.
with Fennec. Actually, I think I had, like I said, dream every single night. Remember so many of them, from the best dreams to the worst dreams. And I think 3 days ago, I can honestly say was probably the worst nightmare I had in my entire life.
Oh,
Didn't have any monsters, didn't have any ghouls, didn't have any death, none of that stuff, and it was still terrifying. Because it felt so real. Like I could feel what I'm touching. I could feel heat. I can feel cold. Everything was just very grounded. It felt like I thought I was awake. As a matter of fact, it was so scary. I thought I died in my sleep and I was trapped as a ghost in my house. That's how it felt.
Oh my
oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, so I did end up waking back up. It was weird because it was like the house was dim and like all the water was backing up and like this black goop was coming up. So I thought, and I was trapped in the house and I couldn't get out at all. And there was like a dark space in the middle of the living room floor, and that's where I kind of woke up. But I was like, I think because it was so real, why it was so terrifying. I do have some of those real dream moments where things feel real, but usually I can tell when I realize this dream's like, oh, this is a dream. I can actually I can wake up or I can take control. That didn't happen this time. It was whatever the dream was like. Nope. The dream was like, no, you're my bitch now. I was like, oh, this is different.
It
But
is
yeah, I dream every night and I draw a lot.
it is
I've
scary.
had dreams like that.
I think it is a scary feeling if you lucid dream very often, to have a dream all of a sudden where you can't seem to lucid dream. It is a very terrifying experience. Did you feel inspired at all by that event? Like,
Yes, I'm actually going to. So another thing too, I'm going to say, yeah, me and Fennec are doing a little mini business together. We're doing YouTube videos. My series in particular, I'm collecting a lot of paranormal stories from various people that I know, plus maybe submissions, and I'm going to do little YouTube comics of them. I'm going to make that story into the comic in one of the videos, definitely, because it's not. I don't think it's paranormal or anything, but it's still scary enough to say yes. That's warrant enough to make a little mini comic out of.
do you have your channel already set up? Because by all means, let's plug that right now.
It's still in the process of being set up. So I'll definitely let you guys know that because right now we still got to go through a couple things such as trademark and all that stuff. But yeah, I will let you know that it's Dog Don't Care animation, but but that name is still up in there. So we'll definitely let you know. Probably gonna have the first video up by the end of next month, I'm guessing.
If you guys look at KINGSNEKK's artwork I just showed you, I think it goes without saying your artwork is pretty much perfect for an idea like that. And if that sounds like something that you guys are interested in, which I don't know who wouldn't be, I'll when you get that channel set up, I will definitely share it around and I'll keep you guys watching posted on when that is up, because that definitely sounds like a very cool thing to watch and something that I think your artwork would accommodate very well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that'll it's been something I've been planning for years and I keep putting it off because of so much life going on. But we're challenging ourselves to actually just whatever ideas that we've been floating around for so long, like we need to actually get it out. So we're challenging ourselves to get our ideas out and just actually get them done now. Because a lot of people getting stuck in, this is actually a revelation we had on a quote unquote trip day that we usually have every once in a while. Art days or trip days, same thing. But a lot of people get ideas and they just remain ideas. And kind of the goal of what we want to do is bring those ideas and manifest them into reality in one way or another. Even if you get it on paper, it's something, it's out of your head and it's there and you just got to make it grow. It's like just take the seed out of your head, plant it, and somebody too, but hey, at least it's there. Just want to see our ideas, people's ideas come to life.
I very much agree with that. I think as an artist and as an artistic person, you talk about like dreaming all the time. I know what you mean. Like, I think a lot of artists go through this thing where you always have ideas, and ideas give way to new ideas, and sometimes the old ones get abandoned. And I think it's a big problem with artists, no matter how talented or how skilled. A lot of people think it's procrastination. I don't think it is, but people get ideas, and when they say them out loud, it feels like they've already completed those ideas. And the longer you sit without actually doing them, the more it feels like they've already been done, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, like you feel like, well, I already talked about it, I already put it into the universe, therefore I don't need to work towards it. But it is important, I think, to also, like you said, you have Fennec, who's kind of like a creative partner in this, which always helps, having somebody there to kind of keep you on track and keep inspiring you to do those things, to just do the ideas and don't keep waiting until you, like, if you think you're not ready, that's what always happens. People think, oh, like, well, when I'm a better artist or when I'm more skilled, I can do this. Like, just do it while you have the idea. And
There's
like you
never
said,
going to be a right moment. You just
yes.
you have to create that moment.
And like you said, just plant it. Whether it dies, at least you planted the seed and you've been trying. You know, you got to do something about it. Don't just let it die in your head. You got to put it out there.
And at least if you have that initial iteration, you have something that you can go back to and work on versus just never actually putting anything out.
Exactly. It's there. So it's like, hey, I got another project to work on if I want to take a break from this project or if I have nothing else to do. That's why the Da Vinci Player's motto is create or die. And honestly, that motto, I'm thankful for that model now because it's funny. I was having a weird existential crisis recently. It was really weird. Like, it was just, it's one of those moments some people get where they're just sitting one day normally and suddenly they're over aware of their existence and being in the middle of the present. And you're like, life. Oh, wow, what is this? It's like you actually wake up from a dream. It's like, oh, wait, I am living in a reality kind of thing. It's like, ooh, yeah. This is weird. So it's like, is this going to last forever? Like, what is this? So it's just finally... It comes to the Shakespeare question, which I honestly think his existential crisis is what got him to do his creations too. Is his ultimate question is to be or not to be. That is the question. So it's like, Nico, make your choice to be or not to be. It's like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, oh, create or die. It's like, I'm just gonna keep creating. That's what I am. I create. So I'm just going to, as long as I keep creating, that is my heaven. So I'm just gonna keep creating. That's my force. Just be your force of nature, and then that's. I'm gonna keep going forward. Just so no matter what position I am in life, as long as I got something to create with, that's what I'm gonna do. Even if I lose my hands, there's another way to create as well. There's music, there's vibrations, there's so many different ways to create. So
well said. And I think
I feel like if you lose your hands, you'll just figure out how to do it with your feet.
Yeah, there are some artists that do it with their feet, and they're really badass at it.
Yeah, I think you'd be one of those people.
Yeah.
A lot of training, but hopefully I have my hands because I love my hands. I broke my knuckle recently, which causes my index left finger doesn't function as well as it used to. So I am more careful with my hands because of that. Some asshole on a bird while I was riding my skateboard just ran into me and totally just ignored me, just kept going. I wish I...
oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I just fell and I was like, okay, that wasn't bad. I got back up and I realized my knuckle looked weird and I was trying to bend my... Oh, I was like, that does not look normal. And I do not have health insurance because I just got laid off. Whoa. Oh, I'm in a pickle here.
That's my greatest fear right now.
According to Nero, if you lose your hands, you can just get cyber hands.
Oh, yep.
Nice.
Good looking out, Nero. Good looking out.
I do think what's interesting about this project that you're bringing up too is I think the more, this is not my quote, I actually think the director of Parasite said this, but like basically, the more personal your work is, the more like deep it ends up being. And I think this is something very personal. It's literally something from your head. And that'll be very interesting to see come to fruition.
I love to, personal work is great too. Everyone needs to get their personal work out as well. I mean, I just, I have a friend named Darren, who Darren just said he's now at a point in his life. And it's awesome to reach this point because he first started working for studios. So he's like, now I'm at a point where I can create whatever I want and still make the money by doing that. And I'm like, wow, I think that's the dream. But at the same time, I also love helping other people actually get their ideas out as well, like I said. So there's like a initial, not just their ideas, but even like like helping them, how to say, put their energy out there in a sense, like, you know, just a creation of their work, or even like a character they want to create, just not just creating their idea, but actually transferring their who they are into that piece. And it just makes them feel very happy, and just making them feel very good about that is makes me feel good about that as well. So there's like a balance between helping others and of course getting your own work as well. And that's kind of a model life I've been living, is life is pretty much literally all about balance. There's like a balance between selfishness. Selfish is not a really good word, more of like yourself and for others. You cannot be all about yourself, but you also cannot be all about others either, because you just drain yourself. It's like a weird balance between everything, and it's not easy. It's very difficult because everybody likes to lean into extremes, and that's where life starts to get painful, is when you get too extreme about things.
Yeah, I read something.
So it's like,
I read something recently about that I've been trying to keep in mind, that said you need to make sure that you're filling other people's cup when your cup is overflowing, and not when yours is almost empty. And I think that's a really good quality I've noticed about you as far as inspiration goes. You're very good, and your artwork is very good at inspiring other people. There's a lot of artists that are extremely talented and skilled, and I feel like their artwork kind of intimidates a lot of people, and your artwork's definitely on that level. But I think you as a person are just very good at inspiring other people, even just as far as costumes and everything.
Your costumes are very sexy. Like, it does not like, ooh, but like, it's like creatively, like every time I see your costume, I'm like, oh my gosh, and I feel like I'm that crazy stalker person that's just standing there staring at it.
They're beautifully done.
And there's always like there's little details, and
there's always so many parts and so many different things going on with it.
And like, oh, it's very intimidating, but it's fantastic. Like looking at your costumes makes me want to step up my own costuming game and my own details and things that I do. So you inspire me.
Thank you. Honestly, I started realizing, like, instead of just making new costumes, because God, they could actually get a little more expensive than it seems. Just add more and more onto the same costume every year, or even when I'm off.
You could also make me something if you wanted.
Oh, are you actually, KINGSNEKK, are you open for commissions at all during this
time?
Yes,
I am. I'm definitely open for commissions.
So if you guys want to commission KINGSNEKK to do some artwork, I'll definitely link that. If you have a particular preferred page, definitely send it to me, and I will link it in the description for anybody interested in some KINGSNEKK artwork.
My main website is fine. You just go look through my work from there. And if it's any of your ideas or anything you want to get out, then I will gladly work with you. It'll be fun.
And I guess, like,
it's just my name. It's my real name, NicoJPope.com.
I got it. I'm going to add that to the description. But I think, like, it is a testament also just to your personality, I think, as a person, that visually your costume and your artwork is very strong. But I think that you just, I don't know, there's something about you. You definitely exude an approachability that a lot of people who have costumes and art of that caliber just doesn't. I think it's just a very authentic person. I could sense that about you right when I met you. And, like, I don't know. That probably sounds really weird.
Oh, it's cool. It's interesting to say that, because there was a couple of moments like last year and this year where I wasn't really feeling authentic. I think it's because, like, there's so much stuff going on in my life that I started it made the social anxiety start to crank up 100 times fold for some weird reason. I think it's because there's way too much going on. And so luckily I had Fanning to remind me in the hard ways that I was starting to kind of falter there for a moment. And I'm like, okay, I need to get my bounce back. I need to get back in my game there, because there's some anxieties and fears that often go on. It's a struggle, but that's where all you guys come in, friends, community, and also personal self meditation as well. That helps tremendously to keep myself centered and being in the true self. Because what happens is, I'll start to. It's really weird. It's really weird sometimes to get this feeling you're afraid to be yourself. Because there's a moment like in college where actually opening myself up and being myself got me stabbed in the heart emotionally. I'm sure you guys get the gist. And so that kind of caused a weird kind of PTSD in a sense, because it's like, oh, well, if that causes my friends to go away, I'm just gonna not do that as much anymore. But that was just that one person, and I'm just not gonna I decided not to let that affect me anymore. So it is very important to be a genuine self, and if you start to feel that way where you can't do that, just just don't feel that way at all. And it's also good to have friends to remind you of there's no reason to feel like you can't be yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important to keep in mind, like, people's opinions. You don't have to value absolutely everybody's opinion.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You know, if somebody treats you with disrespect or makes you feel that way, I think a lot of people, it's weird. The Wasteland community is full of a lot of people who I think grew up as kind of the weird kid. At least that was my experience.
We are all artists and creators. We are all weird.
Yes.
And have some sort of social anxiety.
Yeah, you would be surprised, but it's always a weird experience, I think, for people who are kind of differ from the norm in their interests and stuff. There's always a moment where, like, when you're like a young kid, you might get made fun of or something for wearing something different or looking different or something, but it's a whole other thing to be mocked for something that's very you. Like, nobody forgets the moment where they're mocked for just being themselves.
Junior high in a nutshell.
Yeah, and when that happens, I think it makes you question your identity and whether you should change your identity to avoid that. And it is important to make connections with people who actually value you for who you are. And I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards Wasteland, because there's a lot more, it's more prevalent. Every community has its own social problems. We're still people, but it's a community that really embraces people that have those kind of differences, people that do differ from the social norm, people who do have social anxiety stuff, and creative people.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the reasons we stuck with the community. Actually, we didn't expect to it was a great, fun event that we planned on going 2016, but actually getting absorbed into the community of such great people was not something very expected. Actually, it's almost like a whole new family just formed there. We just thought we were graduating from college, like, hey, we got our art friends and then our art jobs, and so that's just how it's going to be forever. We go to any random event every once in a while, but no, life takes you to very unexpected turns, and that's kind of the fun about it, really. You'll never know what you're going to get. That's definitely Forrest Gump was right about that. But, even though, I have some weird criticisms about that quote, but regardless, it's a whole different thing. But anyways, yes, you don't know what you're gonna get in life. And that's the fun about it. I like unexpected things. And one of the fears that I had, which is really weird, is getting to a point where, like, wow, nothing's gonna feel new anymore. And that's a dumbass fear. I was like, wow, it's always gonna be new. The universe is infinite, probably, so, or finite, depending on what theory you go with. But
that's for one lifetime. Other stream.
Was there a particular moment during the time when you were at Wasteland, whether it was your first year or when, was there a particular moment that you feel like cemented that you wanted, that Wasteland was for you? Like, was there a moment where you're like, yeah, I want to keep doing this? If so, can you pinpoint when that was?
It's gonna sound weird, but I forget their name. The meat aesthetic, I loved it.
Oh, aesthetic meat front, yes.
Meat front,
oh God.
Yeah, that very last night was very intense. I love that. We were front stage. We got doused in the blood for some reason. I've always been into the whole occult ritualistic thing. And there's something about it that just kind of made you bend into the whole event in general. That was really cool. It was a really cool feeling. But there's also some specific moments where I ran into people. Like we had some random people come into our camp at night, and then I'm a big David Lynch fan, so someone just randomly brought up David Lynch, and we just randomly started singing his songs that he made. And it was
that's rad.
Yeah, and that was kind of a blast, because I was like, wow, not many people like David Lynch. So hey, there's someone else weird to communicate with, but everyone else is weird in their own way. That even if they're into something that you're not into, you can actually appreciate, them being into that thing, because it's so, different. You can actually appreciate it, and then you can learn from it, and then you might get into it as well sometimes. So a lot of new things, Wasteland. There's always something new to get introduced to. and that's one reason I loved it. Of course, like I said, there's other events that I'll go to experiment with, and that's great. I may or may not go to the Neotropolis. I'm not so sure about that. That depends on how my time and finances go. I might volunteer to help build. I'm not, so we'll see about that. Because I love cyberpunk, so I can't say no to cyberpunk. I'm sorry. It's actually.
Have you had a chance to go and tour Mega Block 1?
Yeah, I went to the
opening.
Yeah, it was
a
lot of fun.
I saw you.
Yeah, I had the that mask that I had on. I had like a glowing green mask that was voice activated. I actually got that from Las Vegas, so that was so I was like, wow, this mask actually was useful now. Dude's
a Las Vegas purchase was useful. Oh, that's weird.
No, it was funny because it was me and Fanny. We went to a Junktown party in Vegas, but we decided to actually browse Vegas. I haven't been to Vegas since I was a kid. And this one dude peddled those masks so hard. We're like, fine, let's buy them so you can shut the fuck up. But no,
next thing you know.
Exactly. It's like, oh. But it's also I was concerned about finances in terms of building a costume for Cyberpunk, but then someone made me realize, like, dude, it's like we built this shit out of just random stuff that we found with no money.
If anyone can do it, it's you.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. I like the idea of the whole city block thing where people got their own little, like, quote unquote, apartment complex kind of thing.
Their own module.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I mean, when I first heard about it, I questioned the idea of having cyberpunk in the desert, but hey, it might go well. I have a friend who's been DJing in Burning Man for a really long time. And when I told her about Neotropolis, she had very hard questions about it because she's like,
a lot of people do.
Yeah, because like we lose like literally 80% of our technology in Burning Man because of the weather destroys it completely. Because the difference is Burning Man has a lot of money to waste on that shit. So she's like, so I hope you guys can keep it up. It's like, but she's like, I question it. Let me know how it goes the first year. Maybe if it holds up well, then I might join you guys in the second year.
I think the slogan they should adopt it officially of "It might go well." That would be a great advertisement for the event.
It's first year events. That's what made me really want to go to. Is like made me realize, hey, it's first year, it's experimental. That means almost anything goes. So like, if it's
so many shenanigans to be had.
I really hope you go because I would like to hang out with you there. I think that right when I heard cyberpunk stuff, I think your aesthetic would fit that. Backtracking a little bit, talking about that wasteland moment and everything, I do agree. I think one of the most interesting things about Wasteland and meeting people there is because people at Wasteland, since they're divorced from their identity in the real world, they kind of act as their most authentic self. You don't know any of their backstory or their job or any political affiliation. So you really kind of get to know people on a personal level when they're divorced from that real life stuff. You get to know their character, which is interesting.
Because all the other stuff you learn on Facebook pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then you're like, dang it, I liked you. Why did you have to add me on social media?
That is very true.
I separate social media in general. I try to separate because, I'm realizing... My friend kind of put it in a very perverted way, but it makes sense. He's like, he said Facebook is literally like my mental cum rag, is what he said. He's like, I have a lot of shit in my head that I need to get out.
Is your friend a Wastelander that said this?
Is your friend in Junktown?
No.
This is a college friend. He's very.
Oh, I was like, is your friend from Croatoa?
He was getting Wasteland. I'm not gonna lie, but he's totally on his own in his own world. But he's cool. But yeah, that's actually a good metaphor because people just use social media to vent whatever they can that they will never say in real life. It's not like they really. Sometimes they mean it, sometimes they don't. But like a lot of the stuff they say, they're never gonna do in real life. Yeah. If someone's like, "Oh, I hate the government. I wanted to destroy them all," it's like, no. Protests, you're just venting. That's not really dumb.
People on the whole are dumb. Let's be real. But as far as Neotropolis goes, go ahead.
No. I'm listening.
I was just gonna say, as far as Neotropolis goes, so you said you might attend. I feel like a lot of people are kind of on the fence. That, of course, takes place in April. Somebody give me the
8
date
weeks
for
from now.
8 weeks from now.
Yeah, it's in April.
Oh, I need to request it off from work.
Oh no.
Oops. Oops. It'll be
I
fine.
just tell them I'm not going to be there, and then I just show up.
That's actually smart. I'll keep that in mind too.
Yeah, tentatively. So I guess my next question is, do you have any favorite camps or tribes? Like if you weren't in the tribe you're in now, one that you would likely join, or just one you enjoy spending time with?
Well, the first one I'm gonna get the obvious out the way first. Junktown is
I'm with you there.
yeah, there's another, of course, Death Caps, of course, you, and I'm being biased. I love y'all. I love y'all so much. And I love Never Was.
Yes, Tribe Never Was is very cool. I don't know if we've talked about them on here before.
It's a lot,
I thought we talked about them doing the Wasted Aints. Did we not talk about that?
I don't think we did. I have a little bit of footage from Tribe Never Was in my last drunken footage thing. I think I run into KINGSNEKK in that video, and you can hear me drunkenly slurring his name. And then someone's trying to make me play a game where you chug water, and I'm like, "Don't trick me into being sober." And I was a big douchebag. So I'm sorry about that part of that video, but that was what Tribe Never Was.
I think, yeah, Junktor. Did you believe that's his name? He's in that tribe, and the Tribe Never Was and the Wasted Saints have this like rivalry going on, all because of the slag races. And so I believe Tribe Never Was won the slag race in 18 against the Wasted Saints or whatever. So they have this rivalry.
By the way, real quick, the slag races are put on by Hog Camp, and that is they have a track that can enter a racer, which would be a vibrator, and they race, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
And on the topic of art, they always have progressively more ridiculous art that they put on koozies.
That's right.
But yeah, so the Tribe Never Was on Thursday night of Wasteland 19 had their whole tribe dressed up as Wasted Saints, but they called them the Wasted Aints. And they did the Wasted Saints logo, but on the back it was just a middle finger. And so it was like just a hand flipping them off. Yeah, and so they all dressed up in like the Wasted Saints face paint and all this stuff, and they just showed up, and they were just the Wasted Aints.
That's hilarious.
You know, I
walked in. Yeah,
told me this.
Yeah, I walked in and I was like, man, there's a lot of Wasted Saints, and then I was like, wait, that logo does not match. And I was talking. I believe his name's Junktor. He was telling me about it, and I could not stop laughing.
That's hilarious.
I actually remember it now. I think it was I don't know his Wasteland name actually, but yeah, someone at a Wasted Saints party actually told us a story while he was very drunk. He was there's a the slag race rivalry thing.
Yeah,
something I was saying. Yeah, I vaguely remember it now. He was hilariously pissed about it, but I mean, like, not pissed in a genuinely pissed way, but more like in a a fuck you. But
the Wasteland.
But this is really funny, and I enjoy this.
Exactly.
I really want to enter a racer into that really bad.
Do it.
I'm gonna try to this year.
Just do it. That's the motto. Do
it.
We should do a mayoral one.
Yes.
Oh, yes. We have to show up though. That's the thing.
I'll show up. I'm always up at night.
I always inadvertently show up to those races at some point.
I always show up late.
Last time a nice giant lady lifted me up so I could see. It was terrifying and also nice. I was like, I forget what I said, but then I was like, wow, you're really strong. And then you
guys became best friends.
It got weird after a while because she's like, I gotta go. I'm gonna pass you to my friend. I'm like, that's okay. It's like, I don't want to be passed over.
You're like, am I charging? Are you charging? Who's paying for this?
Yeah, there was like a giant guy there she's gonna pass me to, and I'm like, I don't know. I'll go home now. So, KINGSNEKK, the golden question.
Gold.
How would you describe the event to outsiders, or how do you describe the event to outsiders?
Oh boy. You guys might take offense to this because honestly, I can't figure any other way to describe it. Because anytime I try to describe LARP or apocalyptic Avenger, people are still kind of confused. So I get quiet. I'm like,
Mad Max Burning Man.
Mad Max Burning Man. You're like, oh, okay, I get it now. I'm like, yeah, not quite that, but it's a rough idea.
I do the same thing. I'm like, just so you know, this is not accurate, but to give you a vague idea, Mad Max Burning Man plus a Ren Fair.
Perfect. That's it.
Yes, that's actually pretty good.
With
I do want to.
but
Yeah, I do want to. I do want to say, if you guys ever see the comparison, I know there's a couple people that watch this channel who haven't been able to go to the event yet or aren't old enough to go to the event, and I get this question all the time. When people tell you this is like a convention, it's not like a convention at all.
Jesus Christ,
no.
That would give somebody a very wrong idea.
Yeah, at all.
They're not gonna come in theme most likely because like sometimes convention, I'm just gonna dress normal and just go to the convention.
Yeah, like I think that's a really bad misrepresentation that's been spreading a lot. Because as someone who's worked many conventions, this is not like a convention at all. It is a festival, and it is just like any other desert festival.
But like more intense than some desert festivals.
Yeah, it's the conditions are very harsh. I think that's where the Burning Man comparison comes the most, is the harsh conditions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is not like a convention at all. When people tell you that, please
they
don't
hate
believe
you and they're lying.
Yep, yeah, please don't believe them. Yep.
I also very heavily emphasize that being in theme is extremely important in this event.
Yes.
Someone did. Of course, 2016 was my first Wasteland, but somebody told me I think it was 2014 Wasteland. Someone took the apocalyptic theme a little too over. They expanded the idea a little too far, and it's like, hey, Adventure Time's technically apocalyptic. So,
oh my gosh, yes.
There's definitely reasons why the costuming restrictions are what they are. It's because buttholes that are like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna be funny, and then ruin it for everybody.
Exactly.
Also, that joke stops being funny on like the third day where you're stuck dressed as Finn and you're like, this kind of sucks. Like, it's like getting an ironic funny tattoo. It's funny for the first couple of minutes, and then after a while you're like, oh, I'm a joke this whole time now. It kind of wears off. And you know,
and everybody hates me because I ruined their photos. Yeah, and nobody wants to be my friend anymore.
Yeah, don't go and then complain that nobody wants to be your friend after doing something like that. And I think Wasteland Basic's really easy to do, but it's also very easy to step up and build upon.
I tell people, just start very basic. Like, don't worry about spending a lot of money and stuff. Just build. And if you're interested in an event and want to keep going, just build on it. So it'll slowly but surely, it's going to look cooler and cooler and more awesome. I think this year Wasteland as well, there was somebody, I think Scav is the one who spotted him out from Wasteland.
Oh my gosh, that guy,
the Rainbow Man.
Rainbow Man, right? Yes.
I did not see him at the event. I would have definitely had a conversation with him. I had a few conversations with people driving not themed cars inside the gates.
Yeah, that always sucks.
Oh yeah.
I got screamed at.
Hopefully, usually when that happens, I say, hopefully you guys are just lost and you don't know. But if you know better, then fuck you.
And people,
this guy got talked to like 4 times and then started screaming at me. And I'm like, I'm just getting security involved.
Oh, fuck you then. Yeah, you know better.
Yeah.
And people in the chat, please don't bring up the graphic T girl. I already edited her out of the video.
I don't know about that.
It's always someone.
I don't know who she is. She is not me. So... don't be posting the comments trying to correct her because she cannot hear it. She's not even in the video anymore.
I don't know what you're talking about, but now I'm curious. I might know who she is.
There was a girl who showed up in at least a section of Bartertown, and she's in like a long shot. And she was just wearing she's wearing sunglasses and like jean shorts and like some kind of generic like band tee of some kind. And she was like not in theme whatsoever. I don't know what her reasoning was, or like, okay, I thought somebody was mentioning her name for a second. I was gonna have to delete it, but it's not. And yeah, I don't know who she is. I had never seen her at the event before. She was there with a guy that was fully costumed, so I don't know what the backstory was of that, but It happens. If you see, you don't have to be rude when you see people. You can gently coax them into not, you know,
You
can
can
help
also send them to the Welcome Center where multiple Wastelanders have donated excess costumes or things that no longer fit them or anything, and you can go over there and they will dress you.
Yeah, please keep in mind, like, there's a lot of people who see people out of theme or not dressed at all, and then they get mad and they don't ever approach them at the event, and then they just blast them online. You don't have to do
or
that.
complain about
Yeah,
event staff not handling it better.
Yeah, you can always help them out. Like,
yeah, I'm not a fan of people. That's the equivalent of basically kind of talking shit behind someone's back. Like, it's not an issue with someone. It's like I'm definitely going to say in front of you before anything else because it's like, hey, I'm just and I say politely too because some people don't know better, and when you blast it in their face like right off the bat, that's just they're not going to learn from it because what they're going to do is they're going to get angry, defensive.
Yeah.
You. But if you're chill about it, then they'll realize, all right, oh, this is not cool. I'm sorry, and then hopefully they'll get better. Also, I'll say, hey, there's also a tribe dedicated to throwing dirt on you too.
Yes, the restorationist.
They were not there last year.
Are you sure?
They were not.
Yeah.
No, last year they took a year off because they were doing a trip out to Europe, I think.
Damn it.
Yes, because the area sirens were camped in their spot.
Oh.
But hopefully they'll be back. But yes.
But what about the Church of Chlor? Don't they help?
No, they do the opposite.
Oh.
But as you already mentioned, the Good Neighbor New California Republic Welcome Center was there to help out and pick up the slack. And they got a ton of donations. They started with, I think, 1 tub, and they ended up the event with like 4. And they were able to help out a lot of people. And then for weapons, the Dukes of the Nuke actually have a weapon distressing and craft station at their camp.
That being said, don't show up wearing nothing and be like, oh, I can just get my stuff done at the event.
Right.
Try your best. If you need some help, you can always go and upgrade your stuff.
There was actually quite a few people last year that showed up wearing literally nothing at all. That was
yes.
That was weird.
What else?
I was like, well, I guess it's a color. I guess it's a costume. I mean, just at least put body paint or something on.
2015, the year that everybody was nude.
That was a weird year. I didn't like that. not because I was uptight, because I was worried. I was like, they're gonna get burned. They're gonna be stepping on stuff.
I feel like the only way you can avoid that is if you're Zephyr, just covered and caked in mud.
Yeah, maybe that's what they should
Zephyr is Zephyr.
Okay, so people. That'll work.
So KINGSNEKK, that being said, do you have any good, what's your go-to advice for first-timers, if you could give one solid piece of advice?
Solid piece of advice, honestly, that's kind of a tough one. Usually what I'll tell people, like I say, the following, looking up the rules and being in theme is important, but it's also important to be respectful to everyone there. Mm-hmm. But also just do your best to mend in with everything and just go along with the environment. And don't over focus on trying to make yourself look too cool, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna fall for my mistake, which is I burned out too much money on stuff that I don't even use anymore for Wasteland. Everything else is I have just I just gathered from everywhere else. But
thrift store finds.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
my favorite.
Don't God, how should I say it? Don't over worry about it, but just try to have fun, be respectful to the community, and be in theme. Then you should hopefully have a blast. There's a very high chance that you're going to have a lot of fun and join in. If you didn't, then it wasn't for you. I'll just give it a shot. It's usually what I say. Just be in theme, be respectful, give it a try. Hopefully you'll have fun. Some of my artist friends I try to get, because there's not too many. There's a lot of visual artists in Wasteland, but at the same time there isn't. So I've been trying to get some of my college friends to join the tribe. Unfortunately, a couple of times I'm realizing the more I'm getting to know you better in the sense of like being in a group, I'm realizing Wasteland's probably not for you.
Yeah, it's not for everyone.
It's not.
It's not for all creative people too. I think it's a very particular type of person. You have to be kind of hardy. I know even desert camping in general isn't for everybody, but I agree with that. It is. I do think mistake a lot of people make, it's a mistake I made my first year, is it's something that they want to share with people they hold dear and good friends, but it's not for everybody. And if you bring somebody who either it's not for them, or maybe even they're going to be miserable and they already have the mindset they're not going to have a good time, it's going to bring down your good time and they are not going to enjoy it. Like, don't drag them along with don't drag somebody who isn't interested along with the intent to get them interested, because it will not be a good time for either one of you.
No, exactly. And also even like for example, not obviously not naming names or whatever, but like there's a we started realizing for a couple people, it's just like, hey, your personality probably isn't going to fit in the event either, because it's like it's going to piss off some people here. Like,
yeah,
it's like, wow, I've known you for so many years, and like I didn't know you were I didn't know you're such a drama magnet.
Yes, because if you're camping with somebody, you need to be sure that they're going to be somebody that can contribute in some way and not cause drama, because it's going to take away from your peace of mind very quickly.
That's why Fenna came up with the sign for our camp, which is a big drama-free zone sign. It's very important. Any drama you got, please take it out of the tribe, or take it out of the event. Take it out of our whole area in general. We don't want to deal with it. We've dealt with way too much of that. Just no more. We just want to have fun.
Yeah, it's only a week long, you guys. You don't have to bring drama into it. You can outlast a week without making enemies.
Exactly.
Are you sure?
At least non-lore enemies.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but
that's something. It's like take it out in the Thunderdome or something. I don't know. It's
yeah. Exactly.
I mean, Thunderdome's a good way to make friends with your enemy. I'm realizing it's like it's kind of a fun fight. You give each other a hug and like it's. I mean, technically, I haven't been to the Thunderdome, but that's the energy I get from it.
I haven't fought in the Thunderdome yet either. Have either of you guys?
I have not.
I have not, but Trail Boss has signed me up more than once to battle her in the Thunderdome. But yet, once we're there, she's like, I just want to jump up and down. I don't actually want to fight.
Ms., should we battle in Thunderdome?
I think you guys should.
No, because I'm weak and small, and if
my money's on you, Ms.
If I break my hand, then all of my career will be over.
Actually, that's a good point. I've already been accused of being a mare assassin once. I really don't need that a second time.
I've only heard that it's like fingers and then clavicles.
Oh God! Well, I want to keep both of those.
Clavicles like the worst thing to get broken. God.
Yeah, it's the initial smack together that does it.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I love martial arts, so it's just like, it's funny. Thunderdome, I'm like, yeah, sure, I might try it out, but I really wanted to do the bare fist boxing that happened once. I didn't get to do it, but 1 year maybe, or the
feel free to reach out to the pugs. I even remember up to last year they were still like, wait, is there a dispute that needs to be settled with bare-fisted boxing?
Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I can do anymore because of my broken knuckle. It's anything that touches it hurts. So like, yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, that's why I'm taking up kendo lessons instead. Sword fighting is great, but I don't think.
Hey, there you go.
But it's funny. I love the gladiator fights. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite things in Wasteland. But I'm not sure if I'm built for that.
I agree.
No.
I really like it too. But those guys get messed up.
And I really do not want to go against. God, I'm sorry, I don't know his Wasteland name, but he's really big.
There's two of them. One of them's what, Smash, and the other one, I honestly don't remember
Smash
his
is a
name.
giant.
The other one, the other guy is his size, and I think it's beaten Smash a couple of times. But if you don't want to break things, do not.
I know
fight.
His real life name is. I know his real life name, but I can't think of his Wasteland name.
Neither can I.
Yeah,
but he wears the lampshade.
Oh no. I know.
I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. He's really big, so he's.
Yes,
I don't think
absolutely do
but
not
he's like a
fight.
cuddly giant. He's like a friendly, loving, cuddly giant outside of the ring, though. And like, you just want to give him a big hug.
Yeah, do not join that because you will die.
Yes,
I will tell you about your knuckle. Yeah, your knuckle. It will not. I have had a boxing fracture, or I broke my hand. You'll be fine. It sucks for a while, but it does get better, and you'll be able to know when it's going to rain because your hand starts hurting.
Ew. That's
Yeah.
weird.
No, well then you can
Interesting.
do that old timey thing where you're like, a storm's coming. I can feel it in my bones.
I can feel it in my
I
knuckle.
do say that from time to time.
Well, that's because you like to
Hi,
roleplay
Pug.
your inner old person all the time.
Hi, Pug.
I do like that is a pig of the pugs, and I do like the pugs a lot. They're a great tribe, and they provided very, very good security for the den. Those guys are on top of things. They went above and beyond this year.
The den security, I love the den. Security has been pretty good. That's one of the things I tell people about Wasteland too. Security is pretty on it when you need help with something.
Yeah, they are. And the pugs are really on top of things this year as far as that. They were not letting people get shifty over there.
Oh, this brings up a topic, so I was going to tell this. There was a point last year we brought on a lot of stuff, a trailer attached to a hitch to a truck. Then we went back to camp, and our trailer was gone.
What?
It was, yeah, the whole fucking trailer was gone. At first you're like, hey, somebody might have moved, and you're like, no, this is literally not here. And then we'd ask everyone to camp, and no one's seen this trailer get taken. So like, how does a whole trailer just get taken and no one notice it? And we just start panicking. It's like, we can't take this, not only can we not take this stuff back home, but we borrowed it from a tribe member. So
oh no.
Shit. So we went to Nero, Raka, who helped us tremendously. He was furious. We went through the entire event just basically trying to solve this case on who took the trailer. We went to security. They helped out tremendously. Went to the police. It was a whole wide search. And he was ready to tear someone's fucking head off. He was on it. It made me realize that security and everyone in the event is just so helpful in trying to help you with any kind of event and crisis in general. It was really cool knowing that everyone had our back on this. Only to find out that what happened was our tribe mate's daughter came and saw the trailer and just dragged it over to their camp.
Oh, I was gonna say, was it found?
So it wasn't hidden under camo netting in the corner. Yeah.
So
I was just picturing someone throwing camo netting over it and calling it a day. And you're like, oh, I can't find it.
Yeah, they just,
and they actually did a really good job.
Hey, at least we solved the mystery. It was we're just glad it was found, but at the same time, like the whole point of that was just security there was awesome in trying to help us find that. They are so dedicated to it. Not even people outside security just was so dedicated. No one likes bullshit happening in Wasteland, and people want to solve the issue quickly because no one wants a bad reputation in Wasteland, but also we want to keep the image of this community being very connected and helpful. And that's
we are very protective of our community and our people, and
exactly.
Yeah.
And don't steal shit from Wasteland, not even just morally, but because you will never be able to bring that item to Wasteland again. Stuff is very distinctive, and if you steal something from there, you will literally have to just hide it the entire time. It'll be a total waste because someone will recognize it.
Oh yeah,
everyone will absolutely know.
I think
also there is the relic game that if you do want to steal something from a tribe, you have to have I believe you have to have a relic of your own, but there's a signature, there's a certain logo on it, and there's certain rules to it. And once you do steal the relic, you have to have it displayed out in the open so other people can steal it back.
Yes, lore-wise, there are items that can be stolen. They are usually marked. I believe the mark is an exclamation point.
Yes, it's an upside down triangle with an exclamation or the skull in it.
So the sign is just you have my consent to steal my stuff.
Yeah.
Right. This is a stealable lore item, and then you must display it prominently so that way someone can in fact steal it back.
Yeah.
Sorry. I forget. Sorry, it slipped out of my mind. I forgot I was going to say.
Oh no, it's cool. I was going to say if anybody has a question in the chat for KINGSNEKK, do so now.
Oh, there are live comments. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I can bring them up if anybody has questions. And do you guys have any questions for KINGSNEKK that I have not asked yet?
Well, I think we might have jumped the broke ass question.
You're right. Can you tell us about the broke ass ball?
Yes. So I already said the disclaimer at the beginning, not trying to steal Wasteland Thunder, et cetera, et cetera. But basically the broadcast ball, how that all started was we're as artists do, we do not have the money to go to the ball. So we decided to have a little alternative that was nearby. So what we decided to do is it's like an after party, or someone who still wanted to come to the ball or hang out with other Wastelanders and just wanted to be in there, just be with everyone. You know, there's a nearby thing going on where you can join us and have fun too. Even if you just, you want to go to the main ball and then you just want to hang out afterwards or before. So we were for my birthday, we just went bar hopping all over LA to look for something. The Krang was potential. It was a really cool looking place, but it was too small. It was just a regular bar. We were just jumping bar to bar. There's a lot of cool potential stuff, and then suddenly we just walked. Fennec was really skeptical about the name 5 Star because I saw it on a list, and it said it's top dive bars in Los Angeles, and it's like, hey, it's supposed to be a dive bar. So the name 5 Star was questionable because it sounded kind of
ironic.
Yeah. So we walked toward the area, and suddenly we just hear this just metal groaning coming out of the door and just down the street, and you're like, oh, I think we might have found our spots. So we just go, and it's just a big grungy metal punk bar, just metal bands and punk bands playing all night. And we just go there, and it was just a blast. And the owner of the bar was really cool too. He used to have this art walks every couple Sundays or Thursdays. But he doesn't do it anymore. So then we were like, hey, we are artists. We can start your art walk thing too. And he was totally down for it. He doesn't take any fees to book a night at all. You just, if you're a band or if you're an artist, he'll just set up the event. It's Vince, and he'll take you. And when we set up our art show there of last year, he just left the whole place to us basically to run, and he hardly knew us.
Wow.
So this is why we have it here, because it's an alternative space for us to hang out and have fun. If you can't afford to go to the ball, or if you just want to hang out afterwards from the ball, just for people who don't have the money but still want to hang out with everyone at Wasteland, because we're all friends, we're all family. It's like, oh, I don't want to not hang out with family because I'm broke. And it's like, well, here's a broke alternative to hang out. So that's kind of where we went with this.
So the Wastelanders Ball, I believe it takes place next Saturday. Is that correct?
Yes,
Anyway,
the 29th.
So that takes place this next Saturday. It's going to be a little different this year because it's going to also include cyberpunk stuff. So I believe the top story is am I wrong?
Wasteland.
The
top story is
basement.
Wasteland is Cyberland.
Yeah, so it's split between 2 this year. So that's the Wasteland formal event happening this coming Saturday. And KINGSNEKK and Fennec organize the Broke-Ass Ball, which takes place the same day, the same night. It is not in competition with Wasteland. It is an alternative for people who don't have the money, or people who, as he was saying...
Or you can go to both, like he keeps
exactly.
saying. So.
That's what I was about to say. Or those who want to keep the party going after. It is at 5 Star Bar in LA, and there's a cover charge a little bit, right? It's like $10.
It's $10 for front door, but if you there is a site where it's $5, but someone made me realize it's $2.50 fee for the website, so it's technically you save $2.50 if you look it online. But it's going to be 5 metal and punk bands playing throughout. It should be fun, and I'm pretty sure there might be a bit of moshing there too. So it's a small place, but people don't give a shit.
Either way, it's a cheaper punk alternative, or where the after party will be. So if you're going to the Wastelander Ball, you want to check that place out after, go to 5 Star Bar. You can say hi to KINGSNEKK there.
Yeah,
or
we'll have our little corner. We have a little corner dedicated for us. We'll just be kind of camped out there. Also, just a weird random fun fact that has nothing to do with the ball at all, but I just think it's fun. The place is supposedly haunted, so it's fun to keep in mind.
Ooh.
It was on an episode of some ghost show. I guess upstairs is haunted by a dude who died in a fire or something. That's a pretty cool fun fact. But
I'm in.
Actually, the place was featured in a lot of stuff. It's a very hidden, unknown place, but at the same time, it's featured in a lot of like magazines and articles because it's like a hidden gem kind of place. And Mark, the owner of the place, he just wanted to start something where artists can just be themselves. He doesn't exclusively host only metal and punk bands, but that's the crowd that usually comes there because that's the kind of most of the crowd that he gets. But anything's accepted there. He loves the Wasteland outfits. Like, we asked his wife, like, because he wasn't there at first, we asked his wife, like, you guys mind if people come in these popular outfits? And I showed them how they look, and she's like, why the fuck would I have an issue with this? She's like, I want you to teach me. I want you to teach me how to make one. I was like, all right, we'll work that out. But they're really cool people. We've never had a bad time at 5-star. It's always been really cool.
And the only hardfast rules I believe you posted were, obviously don't bring any prop weapons.
Yeah.
Same as the ball, and don't wear any super sharp things. Kind of like at because like Wasteland at night, there actually is a rule, and I always neglect to mention this, that people really should have a daytime and a nighttime costume if they're gonna have spikes and stuff, because you might be bumping into people. It's dark. If you're at the 5-star bar, people might be moshing, so don't wear anything too sharp that could hurt somebody.
Yeah, I say too because there's like a lot of grungy ass punks that come in there, and they have some pretty cool shit on some of their vests. Like, there's one dude who was in there one time, like the dude was Wasteland Potential, and he never heard of it. Like, he had this leather jacket on that had like this spiked spines that was going down his back, and like this metal armor shoulder pad thing that was going on his left side. And I'm like, dude, you heard of Wasteland Weekend? Like, I think he would I think he'd fit. And he had never heard of it. So like, so the crowd there is already kind of in the energy as well. So I never had an issue with anyone there. So.
Who knows? You might meet some people that you could introduce to the event that might change their lives.
Exactly. Everyone there is really cool. So yeah, 5-star.
So I have a question. You said that the wife and him are super into the Wasteland aesthetic and everything. Since there is a cover charge, do you think people could barter their way in with different costume
here's
pieces?
The thing. I guess whoever his partner is that kind of like runs the bands and hosts events there. So it's up to the bands really for the cover charge, because that money goes entirely to them. So I think it's more up to the bands than them. And I think it's the bands that decided this cover charge. So
all right. So that's good to know. So the money that the ticket or the cover charge is to the band. So yeah, you're helping artists.
Exactly. So it's 100%. Yeah, 100% toward the bands. That's what Mark does. And even like when we wanted to sell our art at his place, he was like, I don't take any fees at all. I was like, the money's totally yours. I just bring customers in and have them buy alcohol. That's all I care about.
Rad.
Like, yeah, that's that all works out. So he's like, so yeah, it's so also I do want to say this, keep in mind, they mostly just serve a lot of brew and beer there, because it's and I mean, they did serve us tequila at one point, but I'm not sure. There's something weird about that. I think there's something with the liquor license, but it's a lot of beer, a lot.
Not really mixed drinks and stuff, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. Even though she did make us mix drink once, because I think like she liked us, so I was like, wow, this is like the best tequila sunrise I've ever had. Why don't you have this on the menu at all? But they have burgers there too. They have food there as well.
It's an old punk menu, so come accordingly.
Yes, well, that's that punk. A lot of beer drinking punk. So, but if you want to have hard liquor,
like
there's ways. There's ways around that. So let's keep that in mind.
Get creative.
Yeah, exactly. Get creative. It was fun last year. It should be fun this time as well. It's going to be better music this time, of course. Way more bands than last time, because last time it was like a few bands, but this time is like there's way more. And especially since I knew it was going to be fun when I saw one of the band's names is Fist Fight on Ecstasy. And I'm like, yep, this is fun.
So do you guys have any further questions? That sounds like a good time. I'm definitely going to try to make my way out there.
Yeah, I think I'm good on questions. But yeah, anybody else? People in the route or in the Netherland? I don't know.
The chat.
No.
Yeah. It's been a long day.
I think we have covered a lot of ground.
The people from the other land.
Yeah, they're so far away.
All right. Well, I think we've been going for about an hour and a half now. We should probably call it.
Oh, geez, it's been that long already?
Yeah, it goes by fast. Yeah, I mean, we've gone by fast.
Thank you for bringing me out here.
Of course, thank you for joining us.
We gotta get you back on here again. I mean, I think we could talk for hours.
Question: hold on. Do you have any advice on getting lodging for the ball?
Yes, there's nothing close to the event that is particularly reasonably priced, but you can still find hotels within 5 to 10 minutes driving and or Uber. So that's what I would recommend if you don't want to pay a lot.
That is a good question.
I want to go, but I despise
Unfortunately.
LA. Well, I can't argue with that.
Also, if you are having lodging, do remember, if you plan to drink, Uber or Lyft.
Yes.
Yes, always.
Very important.
Yeah, it is.
Nightmare, that is why you are a voice for the Arid Sirens commercials.
Aw.
Thank you, the interpreter.
But yeah, it
definitely
is.
will.
Say
The
nice things.
only reason I'm driving is because I got stuff to bring, but I'm gonna be there till it closes at about 3 or 4 a.m. So I'm probably gonna be tired and sobered up by then. So then the driving back shouldn't be a problem since then. But for all the rest of you, please Uber.
If it was a real punk area, we'd be able to sleep in the bathrooms.
Oh yeah, the bathrooms are very Wasteland themed. I'll just say that.
I mean, if they
So there's
allowed you to,
chicken.
would you still want to?
Ew.
I'm sure they dealt with it.
Well, thank you for joining us. That was a good time. We'll have to get you back on here for sure.
Yeah,
And you
it was
guys,
fun. Thank you.
stay tuned because maybe I can get you on here when you get your channel. If you're willing, when you get your channel up and running, we can show off that a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll let you know. We're working on it. Hopefully, I'm just being realistic, by the end of next month. It takes a while to get this stuff illustrated. So.
So stay tuned for that, you guys. I'll keep you posted. Remember, the Wastelanders Ball and the Broadcast Ball are on Saturday. Mayoral Cabinet, do you have anything you'd like to plug last minute?
Check out the Wretched Embers performance at the main stage, only stage at the Wastelanders Ball. Self plug.
It's very cool. One of my favorite performing groups.
I'm into it. If you notice that I don't make eye contact, do not make fun of me. I have horrible stage fright. The end.
Is JJ going to be at the ball? Does anyone know that? 'Cause her
I don't
performance
know
was pretty
if
awesome
the
last time.
JJ is performing, but I have seen they're creating a lot, but they just create a lot in general.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Here's
The
hoping.
performance was pretty awesome when I went 2017. Speaking of the ball, I didn't get to go to the Alpine Village one, which I heard was great.
Yes.
I'm very sad to report. I heard from a friend that Alpine Village is closing down.
Yes, I heard that as well.
That depressed me because I heard the ball there was really fun too, but also Krampus Ball was incredible there as well.
Can we stage one last Wasteland takeover?
Maybe, but I heard they're not very nice to Wastelanders.
They're cool. But we went to the Wasteland event.
I mean, they were, not to name names, but they were nice to some friends of mine that were pretty not worthy of being nice to because of their actions.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we went to the one after 2016 Wasteland. We got invited to that event, and it was we had the Das Boots.
Yes,
it was Das Wastelanders versus UCLA, and UCLA literally didn't stand a chance whatsoever. We dominated them completely.
That was a good time. I always enjoy because they did the Oktoberfest. They did a Wastelanders Day at Oktoberfest where they would let you in for free if you were in costume.
That's rad.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we can stage something for old time's sake before they destroy the place.
I think they're done I think it's closing by the end of April. So that's
so
much stuff going on in April. Yeah.
All right, Miss, we have 1 month.
It's way too much stuff going on in April, and even a little bit in March
can do this. We can do this.
Isn't Detonation happening in April too?
No, Detonation is the last week of May.
All right. Oh, thank God. Okay.
But there's a no official date. Winter Games that could be in March or April.
No, I thought Winter Games was 100% postponed for this year.
As of the last communication I heard from them, they're still seeing if they can nail down a date for this year, but they're still in negotiations on the property they're looking at.
Yes,
Because I saw something and they said that they were postponing it for this year because it's too close to Cybernoodle and other things, and they didn't want to compete with that. But my information could be incorrect.
I
yes,
wouldn't be surprised.
yeah.
We'll just wait and see.
Last video we said.
There's something happens.
I'm listening to you, Miss.
Yes, the weather is very harsh. They had a date set for the 13th, but that is no longer happening. We'll keep you guys updated on if they announce any change of a date and stuff, because that is an event I enjoy, but it is an event I always somehow suffer through. Health-wise. Oh my gosh, yeah. What a great and terrible time. So
hey, you can't help but the truth. It's like, hey, third time's a charm. Let's just keep trying, and I don't learn my lesson.
And I did, before we sign off, I did think of something to actually plug that is relevant.
Cool.
If you are going to the Wastelanders Ball, my good friends, the Boneyard Buzzards, have a VIP area up on the upper floor where they will be providing costume repair and makeup touch-up. So if you have any war paint or outfit emergencies, go and visit them, or otherwise say hello.
And if you're from the channel, ask where the mayor is. It'll be really funny the first 2 times.
Don't worry, your nightmare will be there.
Be worried. Anyway,
Bum, bum, bum.
We'll see you guys this next coming month. There will be a video on the channel before the next mayoral address, but we'll keep you posted on everything. Thanks for joining us tonight. KINGSNEKK, thank you for being an awesome guest.
Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you, Mayoral Cabinet. Good night.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
We'll see you next time.